Hello, I'm Scott Bogey here with Darian Padgett ahead of his fight against Branson Price. How are you doing today?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Just on my way to the gym, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. And how are you feeling ahead of this upcoming fight? It must be good to have that professional debut out the way and have those nerves disappear.
Man, I'm feeling great, man. Had my pro debut back in April. Um, Close fight. I didn't show up in the way that I wanted to, but I still walked out with the victory. And it's like you said, it feels good to just get it out the way. No, I don't have to. I don't have to worry about the anxiety. Trying to win my first pro fight.
Yeah.
So yeah. And as in regards for this fight, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling locked in, training hard, weights on point. I'm ready to put on the show.
And what do you feel like was the biggest learning point from that last fight?
For me personally, I definitely say the weight cut. So like that was actually my first time weighing 135
Yeah.
pounds since I was 14 years old. And I had a pretty successful amateur career. All of those fights at 45. I had one at 55 short notice. Still actually weighed in at 45 for that one as well. But yeah, the biggest thing was the weight cut, having to lock in, dial in for 6, 7, 8 weeks, water loading. That was different. But after getting it out the way, I now have a system on how to approach it properly.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up because obviously, like you said, you were majority of your amateur career at featherweight. You did have that lightweight fight, and you're now professionally at the bantamweight division. What made you go down to bantamweight?
So that was always the plan. My gym in indie boxing and grappling, my coaches, Johns Brondorf and Patrick McPherson, they've both been in the fight game for 25 plus years. My head coach, Coach Pat, he's coached 10 to 15 guys that have made it to UFC, Bellator, PFL one. So just one of our main guys there, Chris Lifestyle Lido, he was in the UFC. He
Yeah.
was a title contender at a welterweight. So just having all of them, all the coaches, the knowledge around me to guide me these last 4 or 5 years, it was always understood that amateur, we take tough fights. You win, you lose, doesn't matter because when you turn pro, you are 0-0. Then you get all the the lessons, the knowledge, and then you make that weight cut for real. So that was always the plan. It was just stay in the course.
And like you said, once you move from that amateur career to your professional, you do go back to 0-0. However, you did have quite a successful amateur career, being able to leave that 6 wins, one defeat, one draw. Do you feel like that skill played a part in getting you the opportunities as a pro?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Um, hold on. I want to make sure I heard the last part of your question. You you said that you asked me that being 6-1-1, did that help me turn pro?
No, did that bring you like the opportunities?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Every single fight that again, like going back to my coach, very 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 knowledgeable, very very skillful. He's coached a while. Speaking on that, that was another thing. Is like as an amateur, we're taking tough fights. Like
Yeah.
every going to be tough. We're not taking these fights just to win or to look good or to be the best in your state or region. Like we're trying to compete with the best in the world, and in order to do that, you have to fight the best. So yeah, every fight was a pro fight. That's another thing. I can sit here and tell you things that my coach says to us all the time, but that was another thing of an amateur fight. Sure, it's amateur, but we treat it like it's pro. So yeah.
So, so were you already preparing for obviously as an amateur, you can't do the elbows, it is longer rounds. Were you still preparing for that even though you can't do them in the fight?
Wait, hold on. You're saying that I can't do elbows in this fight in Ohio?
No, no, I'm saying you are able to now you are a pro, but
Oh,
when you were an amateur, you're not able to. So were you still practicing them?
so we would practice them. That's actually a great question. We would practice them outside of fight camp. Like we would train them.
Yeah,
Um, but when we were in fight camp, coach did make it a point to not throw elbows. I know knees to the body are legal, but knees to the head are obviously not legal in certain states as an amateur. So yeah, we had to be conscious of that, and that was one thing that our coach definitely made us aware of because you fight how you train. So if you're throwing, I mean, I had a teammate last year. Dominic Heath. He made his debut for APFC not long ago, but he had an amateur fight, and combination was beautiful. He had need his opponent like right in the temple, and he lost. He lost a point, almost got DQ'd. So it's like it was beautiful, but you have to be aware of the rule set. So yeah,
And what was it that made you turn pro?
um, I going pro was always the goal. If I had it my way, I would have turned pro, a year ago, a year and a half ago. But the ultimate thing was my coaches giving me the green light. They watch me closely. They constantly critique me and let me know what I'm doing well and where I need to work. And they felt through all my progression, they felt that I was finally ready to go pro.
And do you feel like having those coaches who have brought these people through the ranks, get them into the Bellator, get them into the UFC, do you feel like that shows how good they are and shows you that progression that you are able to go into that next level?
100%, 100%. Because it's like I mean, now, kind of in our gym, most guys are at a certain level. But so for example, like I use myself, I obviously wasn't where like I didn't start out where I am today, right? So we
Yeah,
had a lot of different guys in the gym that were at different skill levels. So to see how coach would cater to each guy and to each skill level, it like he doesn't coach everyone the same. I mean, like you can't, styles,
yeah.
people are at different places in their career. So it's for sure. Like his knowledge and his understanding played plays a it is still currently playing a massive role. Like I obviously as a fighter, like we have to show up and train, but if you have someone like a good leader at the top, a good coach, boy, you can go far.
And has there been anything that he said to you which has really stuck by you throughout your career?
And um, he said a few things, man. The first thing that comes to mind immediately is like one thing that he always says to us is be what you say you are. So it's like I mean, I'm obviously, you pay attention to the fight game. You talk to fighters. It's like you have a
Yeah.
lot of fighters who think they're better than what they actually are. Like they walk around here. They've won a couple fights, or they may have some submissions, or they may have this or that, or they may be the top dog in their own town. So it's like they're walking around thinking that they're better than what they are, meaning in reality they're not who they say they are. So coach is real big on okay, if you're gonna talk shit, then you better be able to back it up. If you're gonna ask for big fights, if you're gonna say that you're gonna show up a certain way in a fight or training or whatever the case it may be, like you better do it. So I think for me that's probably the biggest thing is be what you say you are.
And then obviously now that 2024 is over, you're now starting to look into 2025. What do you feel like what do you want to achieve once 2025 is over?
So my goal for 2025 is to get in 3 or 4 fights this year. I'm looking to get on the fire department for my city. I've made it through most of the process for that. So the goal is to get on is to win 3 or 4 fights, hopefully all finishes, get on the fire department, then continue my life as a professional fighter and firefighter. And to add on to that, when it comes to fighting, is I'm hoping possibly after I get these finishes, this next year I can maybe get a shot at Dana White's contender series, maybe like a LFA, go in there and show out. But yeah, I'm looking to really build this year, build on.
Exactly. And do you feel like LFA, they have kind of conquered the regional scene in the America? You also have got big shows like Cage Fury and Fury FC, but it's like LFA, is that kind of like the main one for your region?
To be honest, nah, it was just what came to mind. Um, Cage Fury, I like Cage Fury. I like APFC. Um, Yeah, I like them all. I know they're all feeders into the UFC. So
Yeah.
the goal is to really get on Fight Pass, get exposure. I feel like I feel like every fighter who understands what they need to do to get to the big show is understanding that you need to get on cards where you get exposure, and then you need to show up and show out. So that's I mean it's no different this way.
And like you said, you're wanting to get on the fire department also next year. What are you currently doing as well as fighting?
So as So with fighting, I coach wrestling at my high school here in Indianapolis, North Central. I do privates for folks, people who want to learn boxing, or they want to get in learn wrestling, or they want to get in some sort of like fitness type workout. I do that. And then right now I work with tires. So I deliver tires. I yeah, I work with tires. I move tires. I put them on forklifts. So it's a lot of manual labor.
And how does it make balance between that type of job as well as your training, then preparation for the fight? How do you manage that balance?
I mean, routine, discipline. It's like Stoicism says that suffering and discipline is freedom. So it's like on surface it sounds like what, but if you think about it, is if you if you take care and you do all the things that you are supposed to do, and you are disciplined and you are on point, that gives you the freedom to do what you want in life. So it's like that's kind of my motto, is having all of these tasks and all of these things to do is helping me get to where I ultimately want to be.
And then I did see that you were part of the wrestling team back in the day. Now, how did you get into the combat sports? Like, how did you get into the wrestling, and how did you transition that into MMA?
Yeah, so I started wrestling when I was 13, sorry, 12, in sixth grade. It was something that I always wanted to do. I played football, American football
Yeah.
most of my life. So once I hit middle school, and I fell in love with it. It didn't become my main sport until high school. And our football team wasn't all that good. So I say it became my main sport around my pretty much my senior year. And I committed. I don't know if it went on pause here, but I'm getting a phone call, so I apologize if that's happening. But
That's completely fine.
yeah, yeah, I made a commitment. My senior year, I was weighing 200 pounds, 210 pounds. That summer going in as a senior, I lost about 70 pounds. Committed full on at 145-pound weight class. Um, made it to states. Um, yeah, and then from then on, I didn't really have a plan to wrestle in college. I took a gap year. Um, came came face to face with some massive life decisions, and went to college, wrestled. I went to a junior college, Harper College. It's in Schaumburg, Rolling Meadows, Illinois. That's like 45 minutes out from downtown Chicago, to give you like a place in your mind.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like if I so once I started wrestling in college, I wrestled 2 years, freshman sophomore year. I kind of always knew I was gonna transition to MMA. I didn't know where I was gonna do it. I didn't know how. I didn't understand like I didn't know where I was gonna start, but I knew when I was done wrestling, I knew I was gonna fight, just because I've been an athlete my whole life, and I love combat. So I was like, the worst that can happen is I try it and it doesn't work out. So after college, I came back home. Turns out the gym that I was at, like wrestling, Pride, that was where like all of the MMA was going on. I didn't even know that we had an MMA program. Um, Turns out that my wrestling program was actually out of the fight gym. So I went back there, got in touch with Coach Pat, got in touch with Coach John, and I haven't looked back since.
Well, that sounds great, and I know come fight night, you'll be able to go out there, get that victory, and be able to have a great 2025 as well. Is there anything you're wanting to add or anyone you're wanting to shout out?
Um, I mean, to be honest, I just want to shout out my coaches again. I've already mentioned them about 4 or 5 times. Coach Patrick McPherson, Coach John Brownsdorf. Those guys have been, out of everyone, they've probably been the most crucial in me getting to where I am today. And I just got so much like love for them. Obviously, my teammates. I have a couple of teammates. Angelo Tiger Robles. He's 4-1 bantamweight pro. I have another teammate, Trevino Lorenzo. He's 4-0, 2-0 in karate combat, 2-0 as a pro MMA. And I just want everybody to know that we're coming, and it's gonna be some shit these next few years. So you know what I'm saying? The Midwest is coming, and I'm just blessed, man. And I appreciate you for reaching out for for the interview, man. It was good talking to you.
Thank you for coming on, and I know you're gonna have a great fight.
Thank you, man.